Spotlight tonight for all the wrong reasons. Local military families testifying in Washington, D.C. about housing conditions on post. One father tells senators and our I-team mold in his Fort Gordon home gave his daughter a serious health condition. And you said it could be fatal.
Yes, we were notified by her physician that the potential for it to be fatal is there.
Today's testimony paints a grim picture for the promise of progress.
For more than a decade now, our I-team's Meredith Anderson has been exposing these problems. She was in that hearing today and joins us now live from the Capitol Rotunda in Washington, D.C.
These are problems that Balfour Beatty promised they would fix. They promised our I-team, they promised Congress, and they promised the Department of Justice when they pleaded guilty to defrauding the U.S. government. Today, we learned the results of an 8-month-long intense investigation led by Senator John Ossoff, and we learned those problems have not been fixed. We kick off our team coverage tonight with Kristen Casper.
Balfour Beatty Communities, which houses families on 55 military bases across the country, pled guilty to federal fraud last year for lying and manipulating data from 2013 through 2019. But lawmakers say even after that, the poor management persisted. Since, congressional investigators have been looking at housing conditions on Forts Gordon and Shepherd in Georgia and Texas. As detailed in this report released Tuesday, officials say they found a steady stream of new and ignored home hazard complaints.
Your company should remain in a position of trust housing America's military families. Yes or no? Yes, I do.
Confronted with the findings during a hearing on Capitol Hill, Balfour representatives denied much of the accusations. During public testimony, they stressed they've worked to improve and now have promising resident survey results.
We've got a different perception.
Still, Rachel Christian with Armed Forces Housing Advocates wants to see Balfour's contracts canceled. But she also noted the military housing problems stretch far beyond one single company.
And it's the DoD for failing to actually contribute to any form of oversight that would stop them from committing such heinous acts against their own service members.
Most of today's testimony centered around Fort Gordon, but the most shocking testimony came from a man named Captain Samuel Cho. He is no longer stationed at Fort Gordon. He is now stationed in South Korea, and this is how important it was for him to tell his story today. He got on a plane and he flew 7,000 miles today because he wanted to tell his daughter's story. He, under oath, told people about her skin condition caused by exposure to mold. She was only 8 years old when she broke out into a horrible rash shortly after moving on post. Now, he described her skin today as reptilian at times. Others, he says she looks like a burn patient. He says the damage isn't just physical either, it's psychological. He says Balfour Beatty denied it was caused by their home on Fort Gordon, even though he had evidence from multiple doctors.
Because there is no solution for my family. There is no resolution for my family. There is no resolution for my daughter. There is nothing for her. All we can do as a family is to support her to the best of our ability and to help mitigate her condition, because it is a potentially lifelong condition that she'll suffer. However, given the testimony that took place today, we sincerely hope that there are others out there who see that you do not have to be muted. You do not have to be gagged. There are definitely those who are sympathetic, and if you let your voice be heard, then it will impact those who can make a decision that will impact you again directly.
Coming up, much more of my interview with Captain Cho. He is a soldier fighting in the U.S. military, but today he was a father fighting for his daughter. Plus, I sat down with Senator John Ossoff after today's hearing. There is a lot to cover, much more to come. Richard, Laura, I'll be right back here for News 12 at 6 o'clock, and then again tonight for News 12 at 11. Looking forward to hear more from that investigation, Meredith. Thanks. Giving a live look now from downtown Augusta, the inaugural Soul City Criterium. It's the fourth stop of the 2022 Speed Week cycling tour.
So if you're driving downtown in this area, be sure to avoid Broad Street, James Brown Boulevard, Reynolds Street, 7th Street. And if you do want to watch, just be sure to park outside that course and use the walking access points to get to the Augusta Common. This final race of the evening starts at 7:20 tonight, so you do have some time to get out there. Beautiful evening and really impressive to see the speed that these bikes have as they
Yeah.
travel through our city streets.
It's a fun event to head out and see, and luckily the weather cleared up for the cyclists, Riley.
Yeah, we are getting very lucky for the rest of this evening. Rain chances looking pretty slim for us here in Augusta, but we did see some pretty strong storms out there earlier this afternoon. So
here comes a pack right
how about
here,
that?
Oh,
Great
look at
shot there. There you go. So, hey, the weather's cooperating. You can see some sunshine in that shot there. There was a little bit of wind with these storms earlier, but luckily not a lot of damage has been reported across the area. So luckily the race is ongoing and looking great in downtown Augusta. Here's a look at some.
Photos are a great way to cherish memories, and local photographers making sure price isn't a barrier to getting a photo shoot. We'll take you along on one of our sessions ahead, first at 5.
Well, the cold front will continue to push that rain east of us as we head into tonight. Nice dry weather the next few days, but rain chances in store this weekend. Forecast just after the break.
Time and
Well, we all know a picture can say 1,000 words, but so can an act of kindness, and one local woman is doing both.
Will Volk introduces us to a photographer taking photos like these for just the right price.
Kiss him on his forehead. Oh, he moved. That's in.
Brooke Thompson has always wanted to do this.
That's cute.
It's just been really hard because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my husband, he pays all the bills, so we don't have extra money to go eat out or do stuff with.
Cost has made it tough for her to get pictures done professionally with her firstborn child until now.
I actually got him smiling. Look at that. There's so many people out there that always want pictures of their families and their friends and just themselves in general to like help them uplift themselves, and me doing this has actually helped so many people. Hudson.
Macy Britt wanted to help people like Thompson who couldn't afford it. That's why she started offering pay what you can sessions.
I have clients that come in with like $30, $20, even though that's something that not really affordable for me. At the same time, I'd rather help other people out than help myself.
She says in the month she's been doing this, more than 100 people reached out. It's been a lot, but she feels it's worth it.
Like I said, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm basically doing it to help other people out. He's so cute.
It felt really good because the only pictures I get is pictures I take of him. I don't get people to do stuff like this for me.
And Thompson is grateful. Because of Britt, these moments with her 7-month-old are getting captured like never before.
I think we got it.
In Beach Island,
Good
Will
job.
Fulton, on your side.
Good job.
So Britt says if you're interested in your own pay what you can session, you can message her business. She has a Facebook page. We have a link to that on our website.
Yeah, sweet way to give back to moms who that will mean a lot to for years to come.
And memories forever, like you said.
Outside, it's turned into a pretty nice afternoon, Riley. We had some showers move through pretty fast and furiously earlier.
Yeah, they were packing a punch there for a little while. We actually did have a severe thunderstorm warning Wednesday and Thursday, and once again, the chance for a few storms will be with us this weekend.
YouTube having a birthday coming up. A look back at some of the most popular YouTube videos of all time, and some no one has ever seen before.
The Live by Camera Network is brought to you by Mountaineer Pest Services.
Wow! Click, click. I know it seems like YouTube has been around forever, but it's actually just a teenager, 17 years old. The first video uploaded to YouTube back in 2005, and now, of course, they're hosting nearly 1 billion videos, the second most visited website in the world.
Oh, we remember some of those early adopters. Chocolate Rain, personal favorite, but Jamie Tucker takes a look at some of the legendary YouTube videos and some that have never been seen before.
One of the lamest videos on YouTube is this one, a 19-second clip called Me at the Zoo. It was the very first video ever uploaded to YouTube 17 years ago. Thankfully, the videos got better and made celebrities of everyday people, like Evolution of Dance, Numma Numma Guy, Dramatic Chipmunk, Leave Britney alone, Double Rainbow, Boom Goes the Dynamite, and
I like turtles.
YouTube is a millionaire maker. Charlie Bet My Finger sold as an NFT for over $750,000. And Ryan, a now 8-year-old boy, makes over $22 million a year playing with toys. Videos with millions of views. But YouTube also hosts videos no one has ever watched. Astronaut.io is a website that finds YouTube videos that have just a handful or 0 views. The website imagines you're an astronaut circling the globe, peeking in at life. There's a church service in Asia, a group of men playing instruments in India. There's no information or location or even titles. The videos played for a few seconds before circling the globe a little more and dropping in on who knows where. You can open the video on YouTube. This birthday party video has 0 views. You are among the very first people in the world to see it. Why would anyone want to watch these videos? Well, you never know what you might find, and someone had to be the first to see David after the dentist.
Is this real life?
Yes, David, it is real life, and YouTube's been bringing it to us for 17 years. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
Oh, there's so much out there to see. That
Yes.
program, astronaut.io, is a documentary project by MIT. It launched in 2011.
And more than 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every single minute, so lots to see out there.
We will never catch up.
No.
We will never,
No,
not in our
I don't
lifetimes.
even want to, honestly.
Moving on now, Vice President Kamala,
No,
not in our
I don't
lifetimes.
even want to, honestly.
Moving on now, Vice President Kamala Harris testing positive for COVID this morning. Her office says she does not have any symptoms. She has not been around President Biden since April the 18th. Harris is fully vaccinated. She's been boosted twice.
The White House taking steps to make a pill for treating COVID available to millions more Americans. Pfizer's antiviral drug Paxlovid has been shown to reduce hospitalization or death in people with COVID by 90%. Currently, it's available at about 20,000 sites around the country. They've had a lot of success with it here at AU, but the Biden administration has a goal of doubling that within weeks by allowing pharmacies to order the antiviral treatments directly from the federal government.
Well, as the NFL draft gets closer, one local player is a step closer to making it to the big league.
Sports director Nick Proto has a closer look at former Laney Wildcat Jalen Watson.
Last year, Grovetown next best chance for some rain. And a $60,000 request for the sheriff's office to address the recent rise in crime, causing some tensions with city leaders today. But first up, a hearing on Capitol Hill giving a voice to local military families. For more than a decade, our I-Team has been exposing problems with military housing here at Fort Gordon. Today, the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations looked into complaints of mold, leaks, and other housing hazards that were allegedly ignored by military contractor Balfour Beatty at military installations all across the nation. Subcommittee officials conducting interviews and looking over 10,000 pages of data from a newly released 8-month-long investigation. It outlined continuing failures within the company, environmental hazards, and falsified records. The investigation focused on Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas and Fort Gordon here in Augusta. Senator John Ossoff, the chair of the subcommittee, says the findings not only reveal neglect, but misconduct and abuse.
And the results of this investigation are alarming, are disturbing, reveal injustice imposed on service members and their families, reveal grave risks to the health and safety of service members and their families, reveal neglect by Balfour Beatty, which is responsible for housing tens of thousands of military families.
Our Meredith Anderson has been exposing these problems for more than a decade now. She was in that hearing today and joins us now live from the Capitol Rotunda. Mayor?
Fort Gordon is the center of the cyber universe first, but Fort Gordon was the center of this hearing today. The vast majority of testimony, the vast majority of questions and information really centered on the housing problems at Fort Gordon. We heard from a mother of a special needs child who is at Fort Gordon for a second time. She is living off post, she says, because Fort Gordon cannot accommodate her family's special needs. We also heard from an advocate of military families who says, under oath, that Balfour Beatty frequently violates the law, breaks the law when it comes to military families with disabilities in need of those accommodations. But the most shocking testimony of the day came from a father, a captain in the Army who was stationed at Fort Gordon, now stationed in South Korea, and flew 7,000 miles today to testify about his daughter's condition that she received while they were living in a house on post. She was exposed to mold in a Fort Gordon home, and he had doctor's notes, multiple doctors saying this was the case. And this is a condition that she is going to have for life. He described her skin as reptilian at times. He said it's almost like she is a burn patient at other times. The room cringed when he described how she wakes up in the middle of the night with bloody sheets because she scratches her legs and she wakes up screaming. He says it is a father's absolute worst nightmare for her to be dealing with this skin condition, and that it is unbelievable that it was caused by just their housing conditions. He said also, too, that doctors told him and his family that this skin condition could be fatal. So he said he absolutely had to fly here today and fight for his daughter.
I spoke to my daughter about half an hour before the hearing took place, and I told her, I'm here. I want you to know that this is for you. And I want you to know that everyone will know your story, and they'll know what you have suffered and how patient you have been. To which she responded to me, avenge me, Daddy. As I'll do my best.
And avenge her, he did. It was a moment of levity today in all of the seriousness. Rick Taylor also testified today. Rick Taylor is the lone Balfour Beatty executive who talked to the I-Team in the 10 years we've tried to get an interview with him. He promised change to us. He promised that these things were fixed. And today, he was almost reluctant in this testimony to admit that Balfour Beatty has done anything wrong. After the hearing, I sat down with Senator John Ossoff, and we talked about a number of things, but I specifically asked him about that. Here's what he had to say.
Honesty and the emotion with which the military families in the Augusta area asked me to take action are what led us to this moment, where we have now some of the highest profile attention at the federal level shining on this issue. We've established these facts, and that gives us a basis now as Congress to move forward with reform.
The Beatty response, were you surprised by almost defiance, it seemed, even though the evidence was right there?
Look, I think that the evidence of ongoing mistreatment of military families at Fort Gordon and across the country is overwhelming. And this was an 8-month-long investigation that I led. We reviewed tens of thousands of pages of documents. We interviewed dozens of witnesses to find the facts and find the truth. That's what my job has been. We confronted the Balfour executives with those facts, and for them to deny there's a systemic issue is totally unpersuasive. Every day that they don't take this seriously, service members and their families remain at risk.
Of course, we have much more to talk about coming up tonight on News 12 at 11. Much more of my interview with Captain Cho, much more of my interview with Senator John Ossoff. Today's hearing was very eye-opening and, again, centered around a lot of our Fort Gordon families.
What a landmark day in Washington today, not just for our military families, but for families really all across the nation. Meredith, thank you for your reporting and for being there in Washington for us today. Going to give you a live look now, downtown Augusta, and here they come. The Augusta Sports Council hosting the first ever Soul City Criterium. More than 200 cyclists from across the southeast. Look at that speed. They're here to take part in this race today. This kicked off a couple of hours ago. The men's pro event set to start in a little over an hour from now. But heads up on all this, if you're in the downtown area, Broad Street, Reynolds Street, from James Brown Boulevard over to 7th Street, they are obviously shut down for this major event. Those road closures will be in place until 10 o'clock tonight. But just an amazing day in downtown Augusta. And what do you know? The weather moved out just in time for all this to happen. Riley, we were tracking some serious storms from Alabama over our way. We felt them blow through, but look at sunshine down in downtown Augusta right now.
I know, we timed the rain perfectly out there this afternoon. We actually did have a few stronger storms that pushed through right around 3 p.m. earlier this afternoon. Luckily, it didn't impact any races in downtown Augusta. And if you are planning to head to downtown for the rest of this evening and tonight...
Mishap there. Kennedy, thanks for the live update from our newsroom. 1 year later, the families of 2 Augusta men are still searching for answers. Last year, on April 25th, Ian Wilson and E.J. Kirk drowned at Clarks Hill Lake. Their bodies found 6 days later, and nearly 5 months after that, a woman was charged in connection to their deaths. Will Rio live in the studio now with an update on where the case stands and these families' fight for justice. Will?
Shantover Kirkland faces involuntary manslaughter and reckless conduct charges. Now, we checked with court officials on her case, but they were at a conference. But for these families, this has been one of the toughest years of their lives. The families of Ian Wilson and E.J. Kirk have waited for answers about what happened on April 25th, 2021. After an entire year, they're looking for action in this case.
We pray for justice.
Lakeisha Johnson is one of EJ's sisters. This past year was one of the hardest of her life.
I'm angry. I'm hurt. I feel a piece of me missing. The because my brother's no longer here. My mother doesn't have her son. His kids don't have their father.
Not only did she lose her brother, but she says their father passed away shortly after. For Ian's youngest daughter,
I miss spending time with him.
it's the little things she misses the most about her dad, like their daily trips to Starbucks.
It was perfect. It was the perfect daddy and daughter relationship.
As time goes on, they hope to keep the community's support as their families look for justice and peace in this case.
They were loved and they're missed. So it's important that, the community embraces, their memory, and their memory is allowed to live on.
He was a loving person. He was a kind person. So I just want good to come out of it.
I'm told by both families that the next court date is set for June 21st. They say that they want as many people to show up to support Ian and EJ as they look for closure in this case.
The voice of a child really speaking out for that family. Thanks for that. Well, after 2 years without a full capacity Masters, local businesses were ready to serve all the people flooding into the city. Coming up, the latest numbers on just how much revenue they raked in.
And rain is moving out tonight, but rain change is back in the forecast by this weekend. Let you know how you can plan those weekend events just after the break. As well, and both long-range models are definitely hinting at the chance for rain both afternoons, but big takeaway is that it's not a washout, and as far as coverage of rain, should be fairly isolated to scattered, so somewhat hit or miss, so there could be definitely some spots that stay completely dry both days this weekend. But temperatures will feel a little bit cooler the next few days, down to the 40s Thursday morning, but warming right back up into the weekend.
Riley, thanks a lot. They call it the 13th month of revenue, but for the last couple of years, local businesses were not able to earn all the money that normally flows in during Masters Week. This year changed everything. Not only did revenue surpass expectations, as Sloan O'Cone explains, it set a new bar.
Have this Masters behind us, and it answered all the questions we had about what normal feels like.
Actually, even better than normal. In April of 2019, the entire month's hotel revenue was $23 million. This year's tournament week alone brought in $17 million, an overall 2% increase since 2019.
All of those metrics, again, share with us that 2022 is the year that will be the measuring stick for us.
Chipping away at old records and driving up our expectations, finally making number 13 lucky again for everyone.
It definitely means a 13th month of revenue for a lot of our businesses. They make as much in 1 week as they make in 1 month.
And this year, even though the weather didn't always play fair, our patrons still played through, relocating to their own 19th hole.
We had people here from all over the world. A lot of our locals came around too.
And Savannah River Brewing Company was definitely tapping in.
It was our best sales week ever. Like, even take into account like the big events that we do, about 15% better than our best week ever.
Destination Augusta considers it the gift that keeps on giving.
The anticipation starts immediately, and I think that planning begins automatically.
But not without taking a step back.
We're going to take a breath, recover a little bit, get some sleep, and probably start planning now for next year.
Sloan O'Cone, on your side.
We did check with the Downtown Development Authority for their revenue numbers. They say they don't have any direct figures to share, but everyone seemed to agree they had a great week in Augusta. Next week, we're expecting to get some numbers from Augusta Regional Airport on how many patrons came through our airport. We'll pass along those figures. Once we get them, we know there were a lot of jets on the ground the first full week of April. To sports now, a local football star hopes to hear his name called in the